So the end of a melody is not its goal, right? If the goal of a piece of music was to simply reach the final note, then the best musician would be the one who played the fastest. And these things are easy to understand when, or rather, they're not easy to understand when you're bombarded by a lot of things of potential ways that your life can go and the things that you're interested in, the things that you want to accomplish. So it's easy, like I said, to be overwhelmed by things that, or possibilities of what can happen, right? But then, with that being said, I'll speak for myself. I'll tend to rush through vital things and vital understandings to get to the desired end state, right? And in reality, this is a very, very, very inconsiderate thing to do for my own knowledge and for anyone's knowledge and for their understanding, right? So, if the end of a melody is not its goal, had the melody not reached its end, it would have not reached its goal either. And in a cliche, that is the whole point of a journey, right? That's the whole entire point of why we do things. But at the same token, the journey doesn't have to be completed to have its full meaning. Because where does meaning come from? That's another question that we can answer. But back to the point of a melody, right? We can't just play 3 notes and stop. We have to follow through the process, through the final note for the melody to truly exist. We can't just skip to the things that we want without, because it's not realistic, and we're not internalizing things. We're just not internalizing things. So what I think is we tend to view life like a series of rungs, right? That you climb on a ladder. And whether that's going to school, going to university, getting a job, having a wife, having kids, that has, the rungs have no value once you've stepped on them. You just use them up and they become garbage. Yes, you might have learned a few things along the way, and yes, you might have gotten to your end goal, but the melody, a melody, is different, right? The rungs of the ladder aren't used up by the time you reach the end of the ladder, right? If we're climbing the ladder and we're at the very top part of the ladder, we look down and we're from a high distance, right? We're only at a high distance because of the tension built from our ability to climb in the first place, right? So I don't know, but I do know that, and I keep forgetting. Actually, funny enough, I don't know because I keep forgetting. The more I treat life and business as an art and less like business, we tend to do better work, and I think that we do better work because the result is the experience of the work itself. So the middle parts is what gives the ending of a melody its shape, or the middle parts of drawing anything is what gives anything its shape. With that being said, it's very tempting to rush into things these days, especially when the entire world is rushing. But by rushing, most of the time, we're not learning. And if we don't learn, then, I'll speak for myself, it feels as if we're not learning because we're distracted. That's why. We're distracted by the outcome as opposed to actually internalizing what we're actually doing. And because we're focused on the outcome, we end up not acquiring it because we weren't focusing on the key foundations and the first principles in the first place anyway. Long story short, whether we have time or we don't have time, these are all things that are put in our head that doesn't make sense in the first place. We have all the time, simultaneously we don't have any time at all. And with that being said, there's nowhere really to go but here. So if that's the case, why stress? It doesn't make much sense when I say it, but maybe I should articulate that better as I go forward. So, just keep trying. Things will work out. Vamos con todo.